All right, welcome to the Hot Corner, where it's NorCal Sports Network and Giant Sports Talk Live, bringing it to you every Sunday night. One more week to go in the season, one more Sunday night, and we'll put this, well, I guess we can turn out the lights. The party's over. We could have sang it a few days ago, but we're here, and it is baseball. So I changed hats. I went from the Niners hat to the A's hat because, guys, I'm a little ashamed to wear this hat right now.
Okay. Okay.
Just today? Just today?
It's just a long season, and I'm just kind of like, it's over. So I'm just a horrible way to end the season, just laying an egg in Arizona, getting one out of LA. You know, they didn't show up when it mattered. They had a chance a week ago to take control of the wild card, and they were given a 4-1 lead, and they couldn't hold it, and I don't know. I don't like the direction of the team personally. I don't like where they're going, and I'm going to give it the offseason and see how they do. See if they actually do anything, which I don't think they will do a lot. So it's disappointing to see the Dodgers constantly beat our asses at everything, you know. So that's my take for the night. Go ahead. Rest of you guys.
Go for it, Glenn. Let's see.
Lou. I always go.
Lou, let's go, Lou. Go for it, Lou.
Because I'll sound.
Well, I thought today the only good thing, and probably this whole road trip, is I don't know if you guys watched the game, since a lot of you people would rather watch the Niners, who I thought got extremely lucky again. They're probably the luckiest team to be 3-0. Every game they should have lost, but since I know there's a lot of fans that think the Niners are the greatest, I'll just end it at that. But today, the one good thing, and it's something I spoke with Eric, is the Giants rally didn't come from any of the starters that normally are there. It was all the young kids again. And I think it's a sign that, as soon as they get eliminated, which could be as soon as Tuesday, just play the young guys. Today, everything happened with Koss, Gilbert, Bailey, Ramos, didn't really do much like usual. Devers, but and then Chapman got a ground ball. That's nothing to appeal, but the young guys.
That's a victory. That's a victory. He didn't strike out.
But they struck out the usual 10 times today. But it was nice to see the young guys play and reward the team with a victory, because the veterans, the high-paid guys, didn't give them anything. So
and Lou,
that was the best part. Yeah,
Christian Koss, his defense and his aggressiveness played off today. I like what he did. I want him to be part of the future. He's going to be a fantastic bench player. I don't know if you're going to be able to play him every single day. I don't think he's the guy. I think he gets exposed. But him coming off the bench and you spell some guys throughout the season, I like what the kid does. He's come through with some clutch hits. I loved his hustle today. Out of the box, he was going for 2, and he got in there, man. And I loved it. And that jump pivot throw today he did he turned that
outstanding.
Quick.
I agree.
Was quick.
Yeah.
And look, yes. And did it suck that the Giants didn't take care of business on this road trip? 2-5. Look, that's you can't do that if you're trying to go into a hunt for that third wild card. Because look, I've said this over and over. The Mets, Red Hot Chili Peppers, give it away now, because that's what they're doing. They're giving it away. They suck. They got no pitching, and you got the freaking the Nationals took the series from them, right? Didn't they take the series? I'm almost positive. 2 out of 3. And come on, they had it, and the Giants could have taken advantage, but unfortunately, they decided to hit the skids shortly after.
But Arizona and Cincinnati, where they're starting pitching, like I said, have gone in front of the Giants. Now the Giants don't have to worry about just the Mets. They got to worry about Arizona, and they got to worry about Cincinnati. And that's what we talked about. If they would have taken care of their business, it would have been different. But they
Well,
didn't.
the Giants
And
to get in, the Mets and the Reds have to go 2-4, and the Giants have to go 6-0.
Yep.
Come on. I mean, you watch. The Giants will probably win. They'll win at least 4 on this homestand, is my take. And I wouldn't be surprised to see them go 5-1.
And that's okay. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. At least
do.
you're finishing strong, right? At least you're finishing. Glenn, what's your take?
Well, I just think that even though it was, again, do I even really want to call it a must-win game today? Really?
You just don't want to get embarrassed.
It's
4 games in a row.
Yeah.
It was a must-win for my bet.
But the way I look at it, Eric, I'll just piggyback off one thing you said. Now, I'm happy in a way, and this is what we should have all wanted, to see guys in the lineup like Koss and Gilbert and even Kisner. If you want to throw McRae out there, Eldridge, obviously, this week.
Mm-hmm.
But in the same respect, you're talking about, Koss. Well, Koss plays today, and you say he's a great bench player, but why am I seeing guys in the lineup in a playoff push the past couple of weeks that really shouldn't have any business being in the lineup most days? Jung-Hoo Lee should be in center field. That's it. That's all. He should be leading off and in center field every day. And to throw guys out here and to play this lefty-righty shit all season long, and now when it's coming in and to see, we're going to play this young guy today. Why? And last week, why? In must-win situations. And the number of texts, this fan base drives me nuts, Eric. Dan, Lou. When I'm getting texts today on the whole recency bias, which, Eric, you taught me all about that. Don't get caught up in recency bias. Oh, my God. They've got, I think McDonald is already penciled in for a Cy Young Award next year. Oh, my God, Cy, they're going to get that guy. He's going to be our number 4 next year. We got him. Dude, one game does not make a season or a career. What are we doing here? They don't have depth. And like you said, Eric, great bench players shouldn't be in every day, and especially in the month of September. Unless you've given up, then get all the vets. Like, why? Just sit them all. Play young guys. And that's what they got to do this week.
They got one player that, of all the people you mentioned, that can be a difference maker, and that's Eldridge. The rest, you can put them in Sacramento, you can put them in Pittsburgh, you can put them in Chattanooga. It don't matter. They're all pretty much the same. I mean, Gilbert might have something.
Lower scale players. They don't have that. They don't have the major league.
They don't have any of them have the. Gilbert, he could be a decent 4th outfielder. We'll see. I wouldn't give up on him yet, but these guys, if you look at their positions, I mean, Bailey, great catcher, can't hit. Chapman, go down third base. Great third baseman, can't hit. Adames, he's above average, but he's not he didn't strike me as a difference maker for the majority of the season. He had his moments. Second base, no difference maker there, whether it's Schmidt or Koss. Just, they're just first base, Devers. I would try to figure out a way to I didn't watch much of the game today, to be honest. I just was tuned in a little bit. But just seeing Bryce over there at first base was nice. What a target, 6'7" to throw to from across the diamond. If you're a shortstop or third base, you can pretty much throw it up and, you don't have to worry about making the perfect strike at the belt. If it's a little high, he's going to get it. But I personally think they should maybe look at making Devers the first baseman and move Eldridge out into left field and make Ramos either the DH or make him expendable. I like Ramos and I want to keep him, but he's one of the few guys that can bring you value. Maybe you can partner up Ramos with another player and get a Stephen Kwan to supplement this lineup that has no contact hitters. Lou, you laugh, but Ramos has got value, and then you'd have to throw in
not to get Kwan. You're gonna have to throw a starter in or something.
Yeah, you're gonna have to give up another player. It's like I said, you'd have to give up Ramos,
like one of our starters, one of our young studs.
It would be something significant, but
yeah,
maybe
I'm just saying Kwan is an incredible player. He's just, we keep thinking Ramos, if he's not good on defense, Kwan is solid on defense. Ramos is an above average player. Okay. Kwan is probably 2 levels above him. We'd have to give up one of our young pitchers, and I don't think the Giants would do that. That's all I'm saying. Kwan, for some reason, I'm not blaming you, Dan. A lot of people in the chat think we can let's just get Kwan. To get Kwan and what he does, first of all, he's not a free agent. Okay. So we're going to have to give something up to get him. And what does Cleveland do? Do you think they would trade him to get Ramos? No. It's got to work both ways. That's all I'm saying. And Dan, one of the things you brought up, Eldridge, you probably didn't see, but in the 7th inning, he saved the game. It was 1st and 3rd. The Giants were down 1-0, and there was a shot. Eldridge snagged it, threw it to 3rd, doubled the guy off, or it might have been a 5-run instead of 1. So
nice.
That was
beautiful.
It was an incredible play.
No, I like Eldridge, and I think he's got to play, and I think you got to go with the young. The Giants are going to make the mistake if they think they can bring it back next year with this team and maybe a few changes around the edges. They think they can compete. Number one, they need a closer, whether that's Robert Suarez or Iglesias of Atlanta. There's a couple of decent free agents out there. Don't go get Helsley, please. But
would you take a flyer on Devin Williams?
Possibly. He's had a rough year, but he can bounce back.
New York. Yeah, it's New York.
I like Suarez down in San Diego the best. I think that would be really good. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
I get the Suarez. The Suarez's Ranger and Robert.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, there you go. The Suarez.
The Giants got money, man. They could go do that.
They've already got guys who can put the ball out of the ballpark.
You just need guys to get on base.
So why are we always looking at it like the DH has to be some guy who is big and powerful? We need the big. Can't we go out and I'm not gonna throw this name out lightly, but the Edgar Martinez guy, a guy who can hit, or Luis Ariz. Somebody just said Ariz is just an average. A guy who's average doesn't have a career .316 average and bat .286 this year in a year where everybody's batting low. I want to see more contact, and I don't think this team can continue to put a lineup together with chasing the long ball, because that's what happens. You'll see a guy like Adames, wow, closing in on 30 home runs. How many RBIs does he got? Nobody's on base, and that's hurt this club.
Yeah, what's he got? 28 still? Stuck on 28?
Stuck on 28. Just needs 2 more.
He's going to get 29. They're
Good.
Going to fall short of 30 again. Okay. I'm not personally excited about going forward. We'll see what this team does. We'll see. I am going to question Buster Posey if come next Monday there's some people aren't getting pink slips. If they bring
just to follow up on that, do you think it's a need not only because of how bad we are, consistently bad? Do you think the team just needs a new, fresh look, an outlook on life, a new identity, Dan?
I think they need to get younger in their coaching. They need to get more fire. Fire in the belly. What I mean, guys that'll be more communicative, more. I think they need a whole new revamp the coaching staff. The hitting coach is, You can't have this philosophy. You just can't bring that back. I think Buster wants to do that. I think he wants contact hitters. I mean, he's talked about it. It was a high priority last offseason, and they pretty much reverted back to who they are. They don't have contact hitters. They got Jung-Hoo Lee. That's it. He's the only guy that doesn't strike out a ton. And you can't have a baseball team striking out 25% of the time. I mean, it's just, you just can't have it. I mean, and if they oh, Dallas need some protonics or some Nexium, right? Fire in the belly, but it's acid reflux. I just don't see where the team, again, you got an off season. I'm making partial judgments, but not a full judgment, because I've heard them say they like where the team's at, and they're pretty much going to stick with the, they'll make some changes, but they need to revamp. They need, in my opinion, they need at least 4 new starters, 3 that can actually come and be starting in the rotation, 1 from somewhere else, whether as the backup. But they need to go into the season next year with 8 to 10 reliable starters, and realize that they're going to lose 3 of them at some point in the season. It happens to every team, and I don't want to see Kaiwei Ting or Mason Black or Keaton Wynn, these guys that they just have to bring up. I mean, Birdsong has got potential to be good. He's got to find the strike zone. I'm okay with Birdsong. Roop, he's got to stay healthy. We knew he was going to wear out in the second half. He seems like a pretty good pitcher to me, but you need a lot more of those guys. Kansas City, I keep bringing up Kansas City on my show. Last year, Kansas City went and signed Michael Wacha, Seth Lugo, and a third pitcher, and I can't remember who it was, but it got him into the playoffs. Veteran pitchers. Giants should go out and, they did it with Verlander. There's guys out there that are true starting pitchers that know how to pitch. And you need innings eaters and guys that can keep you in the game. And then they need a whole new bullpen. They got to get a closer. They need a setup man. They need 3 or at least 3 new guys in the bullpen. They need about 6 new guys on their pitching staff, 6 to 7. And then you're going to need other positions. You need contact hitters. I don't know where they're going to come up with the contact hitters. I am tired of seeing 4 years of 500 ball, literally 500 ball, within a game or two. I don't know. Do you guys like this? Do you like 500 balls?
It sucks. Just like the A's had. When's the last time the A's have hit 500? I think it was 2021. The A's are in the same boat. But no, I hear you. Their lineup is good, but they
have hope. I would switch. If you gave me Nick Kurtz, Leroy Butler, Jacob Wilson, Shea Langoliers, that's 4. Soderstrom, 5. I'm missing one other guy. And Rooker gave me 6 of those guys and said, we want Eldridge and Devers, Chapman and Adames and Ramos. I'd say, there you go.
A hell of a lineup. A's got a hell of a lineup.
Give me that straight trade. I'll trade that all day long.
A's got a hell of a lineup. They have no pitching, and you know what? They're not going to go spin because they don't spin. They just don't.
But they will start to spend, and I think they will. But I think the A's, I personally think the A's have a better future in the next 3 to 5 years than the Giants. I think the Giants might be okay in 3 to 4 years. 3 to 4 years. They've got a good crop coming up from A ball. Some are hitting AA. And if
there's
this
a
crop
couple in
can,
AA, yeah.
And if they can keep keep it up, I think the Giants have some potential. But where the Giants are, you talk about the A's, those guys that are in the minors right now, they're going to be what the A's are in the majors in 3 to 4 years. So they'll probably be pretty crappy for a few years until they get some major league experience. Giants cupboard is empty from at the top of their farm system.
And I'm not trying to argue because the A's have done this. They've had a history of drafting well. The problem is they never hold on to him. They traded him away, and then they have nothing. Matt Chapman, Olsen, gosh dang, I can't even remember. Laureano, they had him out there. Let's not even forget about the pitching. They had the 3 best pitchers in baseball there for a while when they had that 20-plus game winning streak.
Yeah.
No, there's no doubt about it. And the Giants have some work. There's no doubt about it. The Giants have work to do. But the good thing is the Giants right now, they're sitting at $160 million. That's it. That's it. You could go out and spend. You could go out to getting yourself a Ranger Suarez. You could go out there and extend Justin Verlander as your number 5. You could go get a Bichette at second base. Now, outfielders, as far as free agents, suck. There is no good free agent outfielder out there. You're going to have to make a trade. How you make a trade with that? Maybe it involves Ramos. Maybe, as Lou talked about, maybe it's going to involve a starting pitcher. But the Giants got a few starting pitchers because think about this. If you have a rotation of Webb and Suarez and Ray and Roop and Verlander, I'm okay with that. You have Blade Tidwell down there. You'll have Wisenhunt in the minor leagues. You'll have Birdsong in the minor leagues. So you'll have depth in AAA because you don't have to necessarily bring them
But
up.
are any of those guys difference makers?
Well, no, but the thing is they're depth. If you have to go to that, right? Any team that's going to go that has to go to their minor leagues because of an injury, well, normally they're not going to be like some phenoms. They're just going to be, hey, just get through until our guy's done being injured. Hopefully not an entire season type injury, but there's potential out there. Now, it's going to be up to the organization to go out there and open up the pocketbook, right? They're going to have to go and spend, and they're going to have to be willing to go do some trades. So let's see what Buster Posey does this year, because I got a feeling that this year was a take inventory year. Buster Posey, it's his first year as Pobo. What do I have to work with? Who are my guys that I want to stick with? And who are my guys that I could say, you know what? Thanks for your hard work and dedication. We're going to have to make a decision on moving off you. Look, he had to make these tough decisions, right? In the beginning of the season. Yastrzemski, Wade, right? They sucked. And this is another thing. The Giants, look at the adversity the Giants had to go through. You started off with 3 young starting pitchers. You had Harrison and Roop and Birdsong. And then you started with Hicks. Hicks didn't work out. What did Buster Posey do? He shipped him off, got rid of him, and his contract. Was able to get Rafi Devers. Yaz was the starting right fielder. And again, you kind of had to do that because you can't – the Giants only had so much money they could spend in this offseason, and you can't go sign every hold that they had. So you had Yaz out there. He sucked. Wade sucked. He made moves. He went out there and got Dom Smith. Wound up being a revelation.
He also made the decision to go with Yaz and Wade and not go out like Arizona did and trade for a Josh Naylor or sign a Pete Alonso who was sitting there waiting. And he thought, we're good at first base. We got Lamont Wade. That's a lack of experience on Buster's part, in my opinion. I think where the Giants sit right now is, look, I love Buster. He should be right behind me. Yep, there he is. There's Buster. He's always around me. Buster's, one of my favorite players as a Giant. I think he was an unbelievable player. He's an incredible, kind man. He's really good. He's talented. He's also never run an organization. And that takes time. I remember once I got stuck in this job. This guy hired me to run his company. I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I had never run anything, and I was in my 20s, and I was like, what do you want me to do? I had no idea. I lasted maybe 2 weeks before I realized I was way over my head. Now, Buster knows baseball. He's a great baseball mind or player. But does I mean, we heard Zach Meneas, and we played a clip on NorCal Sports Network where he said, we're just still learning. And this was after the trade deadline. We're learning how to do things. I mean, you got two guys running the top of the organization, the fifth largest market in baseball, and you have two guys that have never been in the positions they were in. They might be good. They might be great, but I don't think it's going to happen overnight. I think it's going to be learning on the job.
Baseball. But let's talk about this. This organization got Rafi Devers. This organization traded Tyler Rogers to get a Drew Gilbert, who could be a centerpiece. They got Blade Tidwell, who looks like may be a decent starter. We'll find out. They also traded Duvall, got a pretty damn good bat in Jesus Rodriguez. Still, to be determined on where he plays as far as a position. But they got some decent guys, right?
Yeah.
The trade, or I should say,
my guess is Blade Tidwell turns into another Sean Jelly type. I don't think the Mets would have given him up if he was that special when they're getting Tyler Rogers for 2 months, who's a free agent.
He put up pretty good numbers in the 4 or 5 starts he had in Sacramento.
Yeah. Like I say, time will tell. I hope he is. I hope he's good. I mean, it looks like Gilbert. I mean, it looks like they stole what they got. I mean, they got. I mean, Budo's okay.
Budo's just a journeyman, right? He's just a journeyman.
Yeah, but
they did well. That's what I'm trying to say. The organization looked like they kind of had a plan, and they were able to take advantage of opportunities, and they got it done. Now, does that mean, they're going to do something this offseason? I don't know. That's the beauty of the offseason. It's sitting around the Christmas tree wondering what presents we're going to be able to open.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, I have some concerns. I mean, I like Devers. I think he's this very, very good hitter. I'm concerned because he struck out 30% with the Giants this year, and he only struck out 22.5% with the Red Sox. So that's a drastic difference. I don't know if he's trying too hard or if the Red Sox knew something and he's lost a fraction on his. I don't know what it is.
If they knew something last year, they wouldn't have given him $280 million.
Well, yeah, but I mean, maybe they just didn't like the way the whole thing went down. It was a bad situation I think on both parties to blame. I blame the Red Sox for lack of communication with Devers, and I kind of blame Devers a little bit for not wanting to play the positions his employer asked him to play. And I get where he's coming from, but when you have that kind of a relationship and it's fractured, they decided, we're moving on.
Ways.
And they made the playoffs and we didn't.
Yep.
Hey,
What's up, Lou?
Eric, can I say something? One of the things Dan talked about, and I know you guys are, Eric, you're a fan of Buster, but I think Buster this year played it safe.
I think he did.
First year, he played it safe. Yeah. We have Yaz. They went cheap. We have Yaz. We got him 1 year. Let's do it. We have Late Night Lamont. He's our first baseman. Everything was done about safe. That's what they got to start doing. Go after guys that might have a high ceiling and go for something different than just being average. Dan brings up a point that the team's 500. I don't give a shit about the record. What pisses me off is it's going to be now the third straight year. We're going to finish fourth of 5 teams. That's what
fourth straight year about. Lou, fourth straight year.
Okay, I just know the last 3 of finishing fourth. But that's a disgrace. I mean, are you telling me in a division of 5 teams, the best we can do is fourth? That's a disgrace. And we've had things. Oh, well, we were so close to Judge, right? He could have been the difference. We were never in contention with Judge. We were never in contention with Ohtani. Okay, but we're not even taking steps. We bought up, we got Devers this year, and we got Adames, and right now we might have a worse record than last year. Okay, you can't blame Buster because he hasn't even had the job a whole year yet. Once Friday comes and it's a year from when he signed Chapman for the extension, then really his year has been over. But just average at best. The problem is you have owners that are happy they're making money, that we're getting $3 million. And until we, stop showing up with all these giveaways and tickets are cheap and everything. Nothing's going to be done. I mean, I'm hoping we're going to do off season, but when Eric and Dan were talking, it sounded like we needed probably 10 new players. So we have 160 million locked in, but we need 10 new position players. How are we going to afford all this money? I don't know.
You're not going to, yeah, not all of it.
You know what I mean? But if we need 10, most likely we'll probably get 3, and then we're going to bring back 7 average at best players, and we're going to be in the same position again. You know, you have major problems. We haven't even talked about our pitching staff. Okay, obviously Webb's back, right? But you have your number 2 guy you have to worry about, who, as I said last night on our show, he is 2-6 with an ERA of 4.98 the second half of the season. He has 1 left year on a contract. Either you're going to have to sign him 4 years, $125 million, or you're going to have to get rid of him. You have Verlander, who's 42 years old, who's been great the second half of the year. But what are you going to do? Are you going to bring him back another year at $16 million, or are you going to move on? There are just so many questions. You know, I know guys love Lee, you know, because they go to a game and they all love Lee. That's because the fans have really only one guy to cheer for. Now that Eldridge is up, they're going to cheer for him, but all they love is Lee because they had nobody else to root for. You know, you had Adames, who was so disappointing the first 2/3 of the season, highest paid Giant of all time. They didn't really support him until they got hot. Chapman got injured. Okay, here's a guy that's 6 years, you know, making, you know, so much money. He was a disappointment. You know, next Friday night, they're going to have the William McCovey Award. Nobody seems to know who's getting it because, tell you the truth, everyone's been sort of disappointing, you know, because the award itself is someone that is inspirational, has made a difference to the team, and it's voted on by, I think, 85% is the players, coaches, and staff, right? It's very difficult this year because, to tell you the truth, the 2 biggest moments of the whole year, one was an inside the park 3-run homer. The other one was a grand slam by a catcher that we don't even want back next year. That's how bad of a year it's been. You know, it's been a year of frustration. It's been a year where we're not really sure why the manager should come back. We're not sure why the third base coach is back, Matty Williams. We all hate the hitting coach. We all want his ass fired. I mean, it's been such a big disappointment. I think they almost got to blow up everything. I mean, blow up everything and start from scratch, because I can't go on another year of just seeing an average team at best. It's almost like a bad relationship that a buddy has that you keep telling him, dude, you got to break up with her. Yeah, I know, but I don't know if I can get anybody better. Well, then you know what? You shouldn't have her to begin with and be miserable. You know, it's one of those things. And what happens with the Giants fans is they settle with it. You know, I mean, it's incredible. I've never seen anything like it.
You're right, Lou. There's no longer, well, I say no longer. It's been a long time since we've seen a winning culture. There's not a winning culture. And people have argued with me about that this year when we do the show that, oh, yeah, it's a winning culture, 3 World Series. I'm like, come on. Winning culture is not losing 8 games in a row when you've got to win 8 games in a row. That culture isn't, you know, playing 500 baseball every single year. And here we are entering the season. Totally echo what you said, Lou. I said on the show with Eric last night, we were discussing, you know, who do we keep? What do we need? I said, my God, every facet of the team is in disarray. We have nobody who can hit for average. We don't have a closer. We need starting pitching. I mean, my God, even the dog agrees with me. This is a total mess. And I also believe, again, just to touch on what you said, I think that's a problem with this Giants ball club. Winning ball clubs will let it grow. Let it like spring comes and baseball comes, but we're not a spring-like team. We don't blossom. We're like, we'll plug this guy in and sign this guy and plug him in. We don't let the team grow and develop. We're just plugging things in. And I would just as soon they blow. I said it, Eric, one night. I got kind of heated last year. I don't remember that night, Eric. I said, blow the fucking thing up. Blow it up. Blow it up. Because you're going to see this every year if they keep Well, we'll add this guy. And Lou, you nailed something I talked to Eric about last night. I said one of the biggest problems of this entire year for Posey was doing exactly what he did. Free agency, or not free agency, but he re-signed. The day he re-signed Yastrzemski and Lamont Wade, I went, huge mistake, Eric, huge. Some people said on that very show say, well, but he's getting them cheap. I go, well, then run a cheap ball club that finishes 4 or 5 games over or under 500, miss the playoff every year, and we're all quite, if that's what we're going to be happy with, fine. But everybody seems to settle with every year what this Giants, and it's always going to be better next year. There's too much work to be done this offseason. I believe at best this season, next season, you're only going to see this ball club better by, if at all, 3 or 4 wins. This isn't going to be a team that jumps up to, where are all the guys in the chat who said we're going to win 95 games, we're going to win the division, and all of a sudden 500 baseball sounds pretty on par right now, and that's exactly what I said it would be when they're still winning. It's a 500 ball club, and it will continue to be unless they take drastic measures to change the entire culture, and that includes scouting, coaching, managing, and the players.
Yeah. Hey, Philip, great comment. Hey, congratulations on that, Philip. That's good to hear. Clean for 15 years. That's awesome. So you know what insanity looks like. And he says the Giants do the same thing year after year and expecting different results. Yep, they sure do. And they don't get athletic. They talked about getting younger and more athletic this year. And then what did they do? They pretty much ran it back. And I don't like to be a pessimist because I'm generally a pretty optimistic person in life, but I'm also trying to live in reality. And I don't see this team having much success for 3 to 5 years. Why? Because they're locked in to players that are not high-level top performers. I don't care what the stats say about the OPS and the WAR and the, all this, that Matt Chapman is a top 10 player. I've been watching baseball for 55 years. I never heard of these, half the stats that are involved. I don't even know what these meant growing up watching. They're just come up with all these analytics to make players better. And I just look at the eye test. And every time Matt Chapman comes up with key moments with runners in scoring position, all as I see this guy do is either strike out or pop out. He doesn't get many productive outs. Guy, does he even have 60 RBIs this year? I haven't even looked. What does Matt Chapman have for RBIs? But he bats fourth. And he doesn't drive in runs. Tell me that this guy is, and then, okay, so you got Chapman, you got Adames, you got Devers, and you got Lee. 4 ninths, almost 50% of your starters are locked in to high-paying contracts that you will have a very difficult time trading any of them for value. Okay. So that's where they're going the next few years. You got Jung-Hoo Lee for 2 more years before he can opt out. I'll say it right now. In his second year, not next year, but his last year before he can opt out, he will probably be one of the best hitters in the game, and he'll opt out and he'll leave. And the Giants, because he'll be hitting his peak. But
and that's ironic too. You say that, Dan. Isn't it ironic you say that? Because I've made the comment before. How often have you seen fans in our chats all year long talking about overpaid for Lee? All the people who want to either trade him or we overpaid for him and don't like Lee, like our guys who bat 200. They don't like the good players. They love the players. They're always pumping up and, He's not. Dan, I'll ask you a question. Without you, look at me. Look at the screen. Who would you rather have? Who's a better hitter? Kisner or Bailey?
Oh, that's a tough choice because they both suck. But I would say, based on the last few months, I'd say Bailey is.
Well, yeah, but Bailey's played, so I mean they're both batting .219.
Yeah, Kinser's not a everyday player, and I don't think Bailey
Is Bailey an everyday player?
No, I don't think he is. I think they rushed him from the minors. He didn't even hardly play Double-A. He didn't even hardly play any Triple-A. I don't even know if he did play Triple-A. If he did,
but they're in our chat every night talking about he's a Gold Glove winner every year, and he's great at pitch framing. I go, well, then let him pitch frame. He's not scoring us any runs. How many pass balls? I wish we had that stat. How many pass balls has he given up this year? He's missing balls, and umpires are getting mad. They're getting popped in the
I just think this team has paid some big contracts for mid-level players. I think Chapman, you'd have to say overall he's an above average player. Same with Adames. But a lot of the overall factors into what Chapman factors into is his defense, his Gold Glove defense, his base running, his clubhouse presence. All of that makes him a valuable piece. But he's like the guy besides Devers, who they just, got this year. He was their guy, Matt Chapman. Willie Adames, you can't build a team offensively around a guy that's a 240 hitter that strikes out 26% of the time and doesn't even get 80 RBIs in a season. How do you build your team around that? That's the problem with this team and this is why I say they are in trouble for years to come, is because they are locked into these guys and they're not getting free agents to come here. That's why they got Devers. I'm good with Devers. Devers is going to be fine. Hopefully he's only 28 and not 33. I hope. He's from the Dominicans. So as we know, Dominicans fudge their ages about 5 years, and it's pretty rampant. At least it was. I don't know if they fixed it, but I don't know. I just don't think that you're going anywhere with Chapman in the middle of your lineup. If you can build around the edges and get better players and make Chapman your 7th place hitter, then maybe you've built enough talent around Chapman where Chapman is no longer I don't know what's the word I want to use, but he's a problem in the lineup. Every time he comes up, I'm like, oh, great. Chapman's up. Crap. Bases are loaded and Chapman's up. You shouldn't be saying that for one of your highest played players on your team that, oh, crap, it's Chapman. You should be like, dang, bases loaded. All right, man. Chapman's coming up.
Same thing can be said for Bailey, though. I don't think Bailey stepped into the box once this year, and I've been excited. And let me ask you a question before you get any further. You mentioned you had a little tidbit, your comment on Devers, and a little problem, being told what to do. Eric, if I can ask the guys, because you and I dealt with this topic, I brought it up last night. We went to the chat. It was to no avail. Nobody seemed to know the answer. If you are management, and this might be a good question next time you get a guest on your show who might have some insight, I think he just can't hit, period. One side's better than the other. But can a major league ball team, can Buster Posey call in Bailey and go, that's it. That's it. No more switch hitting. Nobody seemed to know an answer. Can you tell you? I said, Eric, he's an employee of the ball club. If I tell you you're going to bat left-handed all year, you bat left-handed. Or you're batting right-handed. Or I say you sit your ass on the bench. If you're the manager of the ball club or general manager, you're calling the shots, not the player.
Didn't the Giants do that with Panda 1 year? They told him to
no,
stop
it's because he had the broken hammates. I think that's what he did. because of his hands or something like that.
But I've always said to you, Eric, I don't like gimmicks, and that is all this switch hitting catcher is a gimmick. He can't hit. He flails. Dude, I don't know what to say. I don't know what he's doing most at-bats. He's waving at them. I mean, they come in with a fastball. He's just 1, 2, 3, he's gone. And then the other side of the plate, he flips the ball. Jung-Hoo's got a better flipping attitude than Bailey. I don't know. It's the love affair maybe, but people, he's a great pitch framer. Screw that. Give me a guy who can catch a bit, can hit a bit. Give me that's what they need. They need all-round athletic ball players. Bailey's not athletic. I just don't like him. He hasn't contributed. And then there was somebody in the chat earlier, guys, said that same case. They said, yeah, but isn't he batting like 267 in the second half? Well, maybe that's why we're not in the playoff race right now, is because, what did he bat in the first half of the season? You can't show up half of the time and be a success story. He sucks.
Jay Case, I love the team, but when they skid hard. All or nothing. That's what makes them so tough to watch daily. It makes you nuts. He's onto something. He is onto something. Look, the Giants came out. We talked about this. He came out on fire at the beginning of the season. Then they freaking crap the bed for about a month and a half, 2 months. Then they go on another run, and now they're skidding right here at the very end. So,
but what does he mean by that? Does he mean I like the team? Does he like the logo? No. Does he like the city?
He's a fan. He's a fan.
Well, I can't say I like this team, Eric.
He's a fan. He's not a fair weather fan. You root for your team, even that they're in the freaking doldrums. You root for your team. You root for them.
So he's admitting that they suck. They suck.
Of course. Good. We all say that. Look, I'm going to sit here and say they suck right now.
I like the Giants,
but I still root for them. When I go watch a game, I'm not going to go, hey, you know what? I want to watch a loss. That's not what I'm doing.
No, but I've been sitting in the seats before next to you three clowns, and I've been like, fuck, here comes Bailey, bathroom break.
But I'm just saying, I get what you're saying, but
because
I'm still going to root for the Giants, whether they're in the toilet or whether they're.
Yeah, but that's why I call you Eric Rothberg, for God's sake.
Well, hey, that's fine.
I'll
wear it as a badge of honor.
I root for these guys when they have a shot for the playoffs to get in. But
I can't do that.
Once I find
you're not a Giant fan. You were wearing an A's hat a while ago, and I saw you last week. You were wearing an Angels hat.
Let me finish and tell you why I'm a Giants fan and a good one. When they're not going to make the playoffs, I want better draft picks. I don't want mid. They're going to have a crappy 15th, 16th pick again in the draft when they should be rebuilding when they're not going to make it and get a top 6, 7 pick. I'm tired. That's where the Giants got good when they were not good in 04 through 08. Where did Buster Posey come from? 5th pick. Where did Mad Bum? Where did Timmy Lincecum come from? Where did all those guys come from? Belt, Crawford. Because they were crappy from that 4-year period, they got good. You want to keep rooting for the Giants to finish mid and 500, everybody in the chat? Go ahead. You're going to be eternally watching this team finish in the middle, the worst place you could possibly be in sports. Why did the Warriors finally turn it around? Because they got Steph Curry with the 7th pick and Klay Thompson with the 11th pick, and they turned their franchise around. You want to start winning? You have to either spend the money or you need to rebuild. No other way. You can't be mid and be good.
Okay, real quick. The Giant, you could still get a good pick in the middle of the round. You can. Look, first round pick. What is the success of first round picks?
They lucked out on Eldridge, it looks like. But
well, yeah, where did they pick them in 2023?
16th.
It's as long as you're doing your homework and you got a staff that knows what the hell they want, they're going to go out there and they're going to hit on these guys. I mean, well, let's see what happens. Look at I don't know what's going to happen with this the new kid that they dropped, the first round pick. What was it? Killen? Killen, I think it is.
Yeah.
He's another Tennessee guy. We don't know how he's going to be. Look, the Giants, they got the first pick of the
High
international
floor,
draft.
low ceiling guy.
Yep.
High floor. Well, he's not going to be horrible. He's not going to be anything special.
Now that De Jesus Gonzalez, that kid looks like he might be something.
Yeah, that's because
now we're talking.
He was the number one.
Right. And this is the thing. With baseball, you got your long game, which is your draft, to a certain extent trades, and then you got your short game, which is going to be your free agents. So that's what the Giants have to do. They got to know what to do as far as the long game. And look, it's going to take years for this current organization to figure it out. It just is. Well, for draft or for free agents, that's the ownership. That falls in the lap of ownership because Buster can go out there and say, I want this guy, and this guy. But if ownership goes, we don't want to spin, well, then now his hands are tied. So we'll have to see what ownership decides to do now that they got a shit ton of money. Last year, they were up against it because they wanted to get underneath the freaking the luxury tax because you got penalized in how many drafts. What was it? Didn't they miss out on one draft this year, right? The draft before that, they missed out on 2 draft picks. You can't miss out on draft picks when you desperately need to refill your farm system.
Yeah, but they have been picking in the middle of the draft for a long time.
Yo, they have been. No,
a long
absolutely.
time. And it's much harder to hit. Baseball, a lot of first-round picks just don't make it.
They don't, yeah.
Generally, the guys, they missed out. They missed on Joey Bart. It wasn't a great draft that year. But generally speaking, you're going to get your best players in the top 10 picks. That's just where the better players are, and you have time to develop them.
Right.
I just can't stand the fact that they haven't chosen a lane. It's like either spend the money, and you've got the money. So I get a bunch of texts this week, right? I get texts, I get tweets that say, oh man, I hate the effing Dodgers. F the Dodgers, the Dodgers. Everybody hates the Dodgers, as I do. But you know what I said? I said, you should hate the Giants ownership more because they're the problem, because there is a chasm that is as far as the East is from the West between the Dodgers organization and the Giants organization. And I'm going to pin it right now on Johnson and Bear, because these two clowns will not spend the money that it takes to put together a real baseball team. No, we got 4A players up and down the roster, and they say, well, we're good. Yeah, you're good for 70 games, and then you fizzle out because you don't have the horses to keep it going for another 90 games. This team has started. Lou, when's the last time they had a winning record in the second half besides 21?
2015.
That's pathetic. I bet you. I mean, we're right here with the freaking Pittsburgh Pirates. I mean, no, wait, we're a notch above them. We're in 4th. We're not in 5th. We're right here. Hey, you know what? I'm going to permanently nail that hat right there to that wall, and it's probably going to be fine sitting there for the next 3 years.
I think Dan's right, though. If you are a winning ball club, if you're the Dodgers, at the end of the day, I mean, the draft, while it is still relevant and important, if you're a dynamite ball club, you're not as worried about the draft. And when you're a piss poor team, you're going to get a top rate draft pick. But because the Giants continue, as Dan would call it, not pick a lane, they continue to be a 500 ball club every single year. And what does a 500 team get? Mid-tier draft. So how are you actually getting better? You're not. And to go back to what some of the, I wouldn't throw that term, I love the Giants. I love my team. I wouldn't throw that around loosely either. Because I don't love this. I have a passion.
I hate the way they're being run.
But what Lou said earlier about old girlfriends, if she's miserable, it makes you miserable. How can you say, yeah, but I love her? She's an average sidekick, but I love her. You can't say you love a team. If you love a team that's 500, then good luck to you. But I'm tired of settling every year knowing that this is where we're going to be.
Yep, they did it again. They took the Farhan approach. They didn't trade Ray. They didn't trade Gosman. They didn't trade Rodon. They had one of the best pitchers in the game at the break 3 times, and they held on to him all 3 times. Watch what they'll do this year. They will probably be right in the thick of it in the trade deadline in July. Well, we can't trade Robbie Ray now. They'll be giving up. And they'll hang on to Robbie Ray next year, and he will walk, and they'll get a qualifying offer for him, and that's it. And he will become a free agent, and the Giants will finish in 4th again.
They kept up with that at the beginning of the season, though. That all goes back to signing Yastrzemski and Wade Jr. They're doing Farhan things. They did Farhan things. And then all our talk, even on the hot corner late last year or whenever we got together, we were talking about the Giants and, it's Farhan. It's Farhan's fault, and it's Farhan pulling the strings. And look, we never know what the roster is going to be day to day. I am seeing too many similarities of the long gone Farhan still being played out this season. So, will the real Farhan Zaidi stand up? Because if he's gone and it was his doing, why does it continue to play out in a lot of similarities to what we saw last year, Dan?
Yeah. If I mentioned Gosman, I said that was a mistake. I didn't mean Gosman. I meant Rodon. And
they should have extended Gosman.
Yeah, they should have extended Gosman. He was cheap. 5 years, 110, $22.5 million. Now pitchers are getting 35, 40 million plus a year.
And his team made the playoffs today.
Yep.
A team that rebuilt almost in a single season by signing contact hitters. They didn't go out get star players. They got guys whose stats told the tale of the tape.
Yep, they got guys that can put the bat on the ball. Exactly. No, I want you guys to be able to hear what I'm saying when I'm talking about this. Because I say that I want the Giants to either be a competitive winning team, but once they're eliminated, and they haven't been eliminated, so in this instance, it doesn't fit completely. But if you're an Atlanta Braves fan, for example, and I know some Atlanta Braves fans, they're pissed that the Braves are winning right now because the Braves have been out of it all year. And they're Braves fans, but they want the Braves to get in the lottery. They don't want the Braves to start with this sudden rush and make it to 77 and 85. They'd rather have them win 66 games and lose 96 and be a top draft pick. And I don't know if fans think that way. I mean, the Sharks a couple years ago, they had a chance, or was it last year? They had a shot at the number 1 draft pick again, and they win a couple games at the end of, I can't remember which year it was. But if you're a Sharks fan, you're rooting for them to lose. You want that top pick. You wanted the 49ers to get the top pick the year they got Bosa. I think they ended up second, but we're fortunate. I think that's the year the Cardinals picked Kyler Murray. But that's what you're talking about as a fan. If you shouldn't want the Giants to win when they're out of it. That's what my belief is. Because draft picks mean something. If they're still in it, then you obviously want them to win because you want to see them make the playoffs. But so they're technically still in it. So you hope they win the rest of the games this year. They go 6-0 and a miracle happens. But it ain't happening. I don't. Slim and Giants had 2 chances, Slim and Nunn, and Nunn just left the building. So,
well, I know if I call you Eric Rothberg down there, look, Eric, are you awake? Oh, he's awake. Okay, Eric. Well, what do you say about that? I can see the reasoning, but I think that's an insane take. If you're talking about you, Eric, you have a passion. You love talking Giants baseball. You want your team to, okay, we're out. Let's just, let's go out and lose.
No, I can't do that. I can't.
I can't either.
I can't do that.
Why can't you guys root for it when your team's out of it? Why do you want them to win meaningless games when they're out of it?
Finish strong, man.
Because
Don't give
What does
up.
finish strong mean? You
Because we're
finish
not
strong.
wearing those
You
Canadian
finish strong.
hats.
Finish 500 in 22. Where have they been?
Who cares?
But
I just want them to finish strong. Look, don't you want to
Dan,
finish?
what you're
Don't
saying
you
is
want to
you're not a
finish?
Giant fan, you're a fan of the other team.
You asked me a
Don't repeat
question.
it.
You asked me a
Okay.
question.
Sorry.
I want these guys to finish strong, man. Finish the season on a high note for whatever reason. I don't go out there and just say, you know what? I want to go out there and see a loss. I just don't. I just can't do that. And look, people can fan how they want to fan. That's fine. I get it. But I just want to go out there and I want them to show them something. Does it honestly, if they go 6-0 to finish it, does it have any inkling whatsoever on 2026? None. It means nothing for 2026. It just means, hey, you know what? We freaking figured something out at the very last minute and we won. Okay, whoop-de-doo, right? It's because right now it really doesn't mean anything. Are they technically eliminated? No. But the way that they've been playing, it's been pretty damn awful. It's not going to whether the Giants go 6-0 or whether they go 0-6, it's not going to change the outlook on what this season was about. I just want to go out there on.
Let me ask you this, Eric. Hypothetical. Giants, there's no lotto. It's just the worst record in baseball gets the top draft. No lotto. And the Giants have the worst record in baseball by one game. And there's 2 weeks to go in the season. And they're competing for the last spot, the worst record in baseball. And if you finish with the worst record, you get the number one pick. And the number one pick coming out is Paul Skeens. Are you wanting the Giants to keep winning?
Yeah, I can't. I just can't. I can't do that. I just
Why?
Can't.
You got a chance at a generational pitcher, and you're gonna.
We don't know. You don't know. We just talked about it. A number one pick. You never know what can happen with the number one pick.
But it's Paul Skeens, and we know he's going to be great.
Look, we don't know. Next year he could go down with Tommy John.
But
we don't know.
So
right?
you're
that's a hypothetical, right?
You're 50 and 100, and you've got 12 games to go.
Well, if you're 50 and 100, you're not going to win out. That's just the nature of it. You're just not going to win out.
You're getting Paul Skeens anyway.
Yeah,
but
you're nowhere close.
That's what I'm saying. I'm saying you're 50 and 100, and you're competing for the worst record in baseball, and Paul Skeens is going to be, hands down the next number one draft. There's no player like him coming up in the draft, and you got the worst record, but there's a team that is just a game better than you.
Let's talk about this. How much better are the Pittsburgh Pirates with Paul Skeens in their rotation? You're not one player away. The Giants are one player away.
But what I'm saying is that's how you build. You'd rather win and finish with the second worst record or third worst record than get Paul Skeens.
Yeah, you know what? This is what I would say. How about you go out there and you spend some money, go get some players. You go out there and you draft better, and maybe you go make some trades. You put it all together. I'm not gonna put all my eggs in one basket and say, you know what, team, go out there and just give up. Just go give up so we can go get that one player. If you're one,
you build it. That's how you build it.
But that's one guy.
Yeah, one brick at a time. One brick at a time. Matt Cain, right. Tim Lincecum,
right.
Buster Posey.
Absolutely. And look,
Brandon Crawford.
Buster Posey could be doing that right now. We don't know.
Yeah, but they were a bad team. That was growth, Dan. That was growth through addition.
That's exactly. They were bad, and they got good draft picks. You just proved my point.
That was a bad ball. That's bad baseball. Now you're going,
let's mail it in. Let's be bad.
Do you think Brian Sabian was tanking out there on purpose? No way.
No,
they're out there. No, they're not. He's going to go out there and want to win.
None of the players are going to tank. Players don't want to tank because their career's on the line. I'm talking strictly as a fan. Don't you want your team, if they're completely the craps, don't you want them to get the best draft pick?
No, because I think if the fans are the fans they say they truly are, then don't you have enough faith in you? Shouldn't your organization have enough depth, smarts, that, hey, a number 1 through 5 pick, you'd be smart enough to get a good player? Are you telling me, well, it's got to be 1 or nothing?
You're talking out of both sides of your ears, Glenn. your mouth. How do you say on one hand this team's crappy, going nowhere, and then you say they're gonna draft well and they're gonna figure it all out?
I think what he's trying to say is if you're sucking, your organization has to do better. Period.
Yes.
Because you can't put it on quote unquote the players to a certain extent. They're going to go out there and they're going to compete.
Yeah.
They're going to go out there and compete.
A bad ball team.
You're going to have to put together an organization
in the middle. They can never get better through. Like we're talking, this is a moot point. They don't get Paul Skeens type players. Why? Because they keep fiddling around with. Well, let's plug in a guy from free agency. I can get on the cheap.
This is what I'm saying. Why? I don't understand the mentality. See, you guys say, how can you be a fan if you're not rooting for them to win every game? But if you're really a fan, like I've had people tell me they hate the Dodgers so much that they would rather root for the Dodgers to lose the last game of the season if it meant the opponent the Dodgers were playing. If the Dodgers beat them, the Giants got into the playoffs. They would rather the Dodgers lose and have the Giants not make the playoffs than the Dodgers win and help the Giants out. That is stupid, in my opinion. Just purely stupid. Who thinks that way because they hate the Dodgers so much? You just talk
like that. You're saying, wouldn't you rather just lose? And that's your own team. Wouldn't you rather just lose to get that pick? You're talking about not the other team winning or losing. You're talking about, I'd rather my team mail it in.
I'm talking about teams that I'm not talking about teams. Look, I understand that organizations, I understand this better than anyone. Organizations, and especially players, do not tank. Professional athletes never want to tank because the guy that they might end up getting might take their job. They're fighting for their careers. Baseball players, whatever sport, they don't intentionally tank. But what I am saying is I have had fans say, well, I'm such a Dodger hater that I'm going to root that the Dodgers lose, even if it helps the Giants get into the playoffs. That's stupid. Do you agree with that, or would you root for the Dodgers to lose too, Glenn?
I really don't care about the Dodgers either.
I'm making a point.
Like, Dan, are you going to do a show tomorrow night?
No, the Giants are. Yes, the Giants are playing.
Giants are playing.
Yeah, Giant Sports Talk Live will be on tomorrow night. I mean, Eric, we could have shut it down a month ago. Why?
No,
we could have shut it down.
But my point is, I'm talking about a fan. Or lose. I'm talking about a fan, and people say, "Well, I'm not a real Giants fan because I don't want them to win when they're out of the race. I'd rather see them lose and get a better draft pick." And then I'm turning it around and saying, I've had people in my chat say they'd rather the Dodgers lose than win and help the Giants get into the playoff spot on the last day of the season. If the Dodgers win, the Giants make it. But if the Dodgers lose, the Giants are eliminated.
Oh, I hear you. But Eric has taught me to disengage, not even paying attention to people who have those stupid takes in our chat, right, Eric? We don't pay attention to that stuff.
Yeah, Senior says if a loss makes the team better in the long run, then of course you would want that if you are a true fan. Yes, I think.
Well, this is a whole can of worms.
Hold on, I want to hear what Lou has to say.
Want your team to lose?
I want to hear what Lou has to say. Lou, what you got with this?
Wakey. Mike's on.
Mike,
the big problem is your team should never even been in this situation. They're here to win. I mean, we're talking about something that no organization should ever be part of. I mean, we're the San Francisco Giants. Okay. We make so much money. We have a place that's paid for, and we're talking about something very minute about fans that say they don't want the Dodgers to lose and it would help the Giants in the long run. But what I'm saying is we should never be in this spot to begin with. The problem with the Giants the last couple of years, and this is something that we've all talked about, they're shooting for the third wild card. People should be pissed. Why are we shooting for the third wild card? Why aren't we maybe trying to go win the division? And if we can't win the division, then we wind up maybe second wild card. We're so minute. We're rooting for the least of the least. Okay, we're doing like what the Oakland A's are doing. Hey, we're hoping We'll be good enough. We're playing in a smaller ballpark. Hopefully we can get $1.2 million, and our team's good when we go to Vegas. The Giants should never even be thinking like this. We also compared, us with the Pittsburgh Pirates. Sorry, guys, we're not of that. We're one of the top 5 teams and probably one of the top 3 brand teams in the world of baseball. I mean, my God, you go to Japan, the Giants are bigger than the Dodgers, the Yokohama Giants. In San Francisco, the Giants. The biggest problem with the Giants right now, it's not a destination. We have fans that are living in the past, and for some reason, they're happy where we're at. What it should be is people should be pissed that we're winding up finishing 4th again, that we're not even 500, that we spent more money. Who cares about if we have fans? And that's the problem with our fans. Our fans are living in the past, just like Melvin. He coaches like it's 2014. I think a whole bunch of different things have happened. Baseball's changed so much in the last 6 years. You can't compare anything. I don't think we've adapted well. I think we're behind the times, and we're too much in love with former players from 2010, 12, and 14. Who gives a shit about those guys? Okay? Baseball was different then. We should be having young guys that are spot on, that are good. Instead, we fall in love. Okay, we all talked about Buster. Okay, he's a great player. That's great, right? But a normal company wouldn't put a CEO in charge of a guy that's never done it. But we're going to give him the benefit of the doubt, okay? What I'm most interested in is at the end of the year is I want Buster to admit, hey, guys, I made a mistake. I screwed up being safe, and this is what we're going to do. The Giants never, ever, after the year, admitted they made a mistake. They're always going to tell you what you want to hear, like you're talking to a 12-year-old girl. They never, ever say anything. They still think Adames was the best signing of the year. He wasn't. Probably the best signing right now was a guy that they didn't even sign. They got lucky. When you look at the people they've done, and the problem with the Giants is, again, they got their 3 and 5 years. They're going to use it forever. Next year they'll say, oh, it's the 13th anniversary of Matt Cain's perfect game. I mean, they've run out of stuff. To tell you the truth, this year was sort of an embarrassment where we were praising a guy that Lee, who wasn't doing anything. We had complete knuckleheads in the stands with that hairdo, for Lee. Every time he came up, the same thing. Even though the Giants were losing, that's who they were basically praising. Nobody else. Very rarely did we say, oh, my God, we have a Hall of Famer playing for us in Verlander, because he was the shits until probably the last 6 weeks. No one was happy with Adames. Oh, my God, this is horrible. No one's been happy with Ramos. Oh, my God, have you seen the way the guy ran? It's been a real, real bad year. But the Giants got to, step up and admit they made a mistake. And, this offseason, I think it's going to be big because Dan always says 2027, might not even be a season. So I don't want them to be safe and use the 2027 walkout as an excuse. Oh, guys, we don't really want to sign Ray for 3 years because there might not be a season. The Giants have more money now than they did before the World Series and before the pandemic because of their property. They have more money coming out of their ass than all of San Francisco combined. But the problem is we have people involved. That's all they care about. And Dan said it the other night. As long as they get 3 million people, the owners are happy. They're making money on their property, on Mission Rock. The ballpark is full. The ballpark is paid for. I mean, my God, in 2 weeks, they have Metallica playing there again for DreamWorks. They're having 2 other concerts a week before. People are using it. They have the Super Bowl that's coming. They're laughing all the way to the bank. This week, the Giants, everyone for 2026, including myself, we have to pay off our season tickets now. Why? Because they're smart enough. There's not even a game for another 7 months, but they're going to have the money, and it's just going to sit and sit and sit. That's the problem when you have a team that's run more like a real estate company than a ball team. I'll just leave it at that.
All right. Hey, we got a couple of super chats. Hey, we missed one from the very beginning. Wait, what is that from? 807. We weren't even live. Mentor Mac, $10. Lee, damn you, Lee. Bomel, 3-time manager of the year, 1,673 and 1,586 losses, 410 playoffs, 8 postseasons, 2.8 average finish. He beat the Mets versus the Padres, just a winner. Yes, no World Series, nothing. Can you guys figure that one out? I'm having a hard time figuring that one out.
I think he meant Lee is damn Lee. Melvin.
He gives Melvin's his stats on Bob Melvin.
Now, again, I admit he has, he's done good, but as I bring up, San Diego was happy to get rid of him, and they had a better team than us. That tells us something. I don't think he's been a good manager at all since he was with the A's. He manages our team like an American League team, which is wrong. He has not improved the Giants in any way. The only reason why they got him is because he was a former player, which I hate that fucking rule, because he was a shitty Giant. Look at his stats. He was a shitty catcher for us. He didn't do anything. But because he played with us, I don't even know if he played more than a year and a half with us. All of a sudden, we got to bring him back. That's the one thing about the Giants. Fuck this shit if the guy's local, and screw this if he played with us 10 years ago. Nobody cares. All it is you're bringing in a name, not his ability. I mean, Buster was a great player. Okay. But you know what? In 2 years from now, we might say, God, he was a horrible executive. Kapler, he wasn't a great player. We got him desperation because he was in the Dodgers system, right? We've done this too many times.
Right.
Farhan.
And then Dodgers, Lou, to your point, Lou, and that's why they went after Melvin because of they overcorrected with Kapler. People couldn't stand Kapler, so they overcorrected and went with Bob Melvin. And look, is Bob Melvin an actual? No, he's not a disaster. Could they be better? Sure. If you go look at Bruce Bochy,
he's not their biggest. He's not their biggest.
He's not their biggest problem. If you go look at the regular season record between Bruce Bochy and Bob Melvin has a better winning percentage. Now in the playoffs, totally different situation. But it is what it is.
Look at Bochy's coaches that he bought on, and look who Melvin bought in.
That's that. And no, to your point, the same thing with Kapler. That's the thing. There was an overcorrection on both ends. What happened is they moved off of Bochy, overcorrected with the Kapler. They got rid of Kapler. They overcorrected with Melvin, if you want to say that. So it is what it is, and let's see what happens. We don't know what the decisions are going to be until after the season ends. Ibrahim donates. You're doing the same thing. He donates $10. In my opinion, by signing Chapman, Adames, acquiring Devers, the only option Buster has is to go all in and spin to the hilt. Bichette, Suarez, Framber, the works. Pair that with Bryce and roll.
That's picking a lane.
That's okay.
That's picking a lane. Now, we'll see. He can go out and try to get these guys, but do they want to come to San Francisco? And they're going to be competing with the likes of other top teams as well. You think the Dodgers might be looking for a closer next year? They've struggled
100%
to have a closer. So where are you going if you're Suarez and the money's close? Are you picking the Giants or the Dodgers? I mean, you're a sure thing if you pick the Dodgers to be in the playoffs. The Giants, you have I saw Dallas's post. They missed the playoffs 8 out of the last 10 years. I'm picking the Dodgers if the money's pretty close, I mean, we hear that all the time. Players want to win. So we'll see. The Giants are going to have to overspend. Look, they overspent on Chapman. Can we all agree on that?
Yeah, they outbid themselves.
Yeah, they overspent on Lee. Can we agree on that?
Yeah, they overspent on him. They could have got him a little bit cheaper.
Yeah, probably like $14 million a year instead of 19. Yeah, maybe even less.
I agree with you, but I still disagree to the degree and the point that I said it to Eric before many a time. A guy like Lee should be he's an everyday player. Should be in most every organization. So if the Dodgers had signed him, the same people who bitch and complain that we pay too much would be bitching and complaining on these same channels going, see, we didn't spend the money.
Yeah.
The freaking
Yeah.
Dodgers went and got him. It would be the same freaking thing.
And here's the thing with MLB contracts, you overpay. Every guy is over. That's just the
lot of guys
MLB.
Eric, you know too through our chat. It doesn't matter if it's Lee or anybody else.
Yeah.
1 minute, it's an overpay. And then if we don't get him, God, you didn't sign him. It doesn't matter who it is.
I don't think Jung-Hoo Lee
fan base.
I don't think Jung-Hoo Lee starts on a lot of teams.
You don't think so? No.
What?
I think he would start.
Is he going to start on the Dodgers, the Padres? No.
He might start. Would you start him over Michael Conforto?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
He's your everyday.
I don't know if they would do that. They certainly, it looks like that now because
and he would be, he'd have a whole hell of a lot more
because of the year
protection.
Conforto had, but he's just a punch and Judy type hitter. It's a 260. What is he hitting? 260?
260 something, almost did he get up to 270? Let me see.
I haven't even looked at it.
I think 265-ish, I think.
Again, I started the show with this. Why does everybody have to slam home runs to be a success
They don't.
story?
Yeah,
They
I
don't.
agree.
Is he going to start on the shoot? I don't even know if he starts for the A's.
261.
I don't even know if he starts for the A's.
He starts on the A's. He's your number one.
Leroy
center.
Butler
Number one
and
he starts on the Padres, the A's,
Soderstrom.
the Mariners, the Blue Jays,
Well,
the Giants.
you're going to start him in over Julio Rodriguez in center field for the Mariners?
I didn't say that.
No.
I didn't say start in center field, Dan.
Yeah, he's going to play what, left field, right field for the Mariners?
Doesn't matter. You plug him into your lineup.
He's a 260 hitter with less than 10 home runs.
He's a rookie, Dan.
But that's not great production.
Oh my God!
For a rookie, I mean,
this
is his first 162. This is his first 162.
I don't know. I don't think he starts. I didn't say every team. I said I don't think he starts for a lot of teams. I don't think he starts on. Like I said, I mentioned the Dodgers. I think you got Hernandez out there and Pages, and
you'd rather have Hernandez. So you'd rather have Hernandez than Jung-Hoo Lee?
Oh yeah, yeah, no doubt.
Would.
He's got 24 homers.
Again, okay.
I mean, Jung-Hoo Lee.
I know.
What is Jung? I mean, he might. I'm fine that Jung-Hoo Lee might be a good hitter someday. Maybe a 300 hitter. He has the potential, but I also think the guy grounds out to second base very often. He's not a guy. He's not a great base stealer. He's a pretty good center fielder. He's a pretty good outfielder, but he's not. He's not. I don't know what the fans at Oracle, the Jung-Hoo Lee, and they wear these hooligan hats and whatever. He's not that. I don't see what. You're muted there.
It's not always about you're always yelling to myself. It's not always about how good you are too. Don't forget, this is baseball. And then you see that in every stadium. I'll give you a prime example. My love of the WNBA. One of the most popular players on the team, if not, and one of the most popular players in the league, was our bench player. Never even played. But she was Asian in an Asian market. So what did that make her? A fan favorite. So it's possibly to be a fan favorite. I said to Eric just the other day, I go in the course of a year, I go to a lot of different ballparks. And it doesn't matter which ballpark you go to. The Asian fan base show up. It's probably the only game they go to all year, and they're cheering for Jung-Hoo Lee. They love him.
I don't know. I know.
And this team is not going into this season. This is a franchise that didn't have that guy. I told you, I'm not going and paying money to, Hey, I'm going to go see Cost today. Buy a ticket. You go to see Lee.
We all play fantasy baseball. I know Lou doesn't, but he's 36% rostered in Yahoo fantasy leagues. That means 64% of Yahoo players don't want Jung-Hoo Lee. I mean, your best players are rostered.
And you traded me. You traded with me last year to get him from me.
Well, that was last year for a period of time. I thought he might be good, but then I realized I didn't keep him long if I had him.
Anyway, I don't even know what we're talking about. Jung-Hoo Lee would be if you're the Giants and somebody calls you up and says, "We want Jung-Hoo Lee," you trading him?
If I could get a good pitcher for him, heck yeah. Why do I want a guy that he doesn't steal bases, he doesn't hit for power? What's his on base?
He's got 10,
percentage?
right? Doesn't he got 10 stolen bases?
10.
His on base is 325, I believe. Yeah, but the thing is, are the Giants letting him run? That's another factor.
I don't think he's a good base runner. I've seen him slide like he looks like he needs to go back to Little League and learn how to slide.
Well, let's just call a spade a spade. Arguing over Jung-Hoo Lee playing on other teams is not the Giants' biggest issues.
He's so
you
mid.
Got bigger fish to fry, right, Eric?
The Giants,
yeah.
He's so mid. Chapman's so mid. I mean, Adames is slightly above mid. He's not a difference maker. Where are the difference makers on this Giants team?
You sound like a guy who doesn't even like the Giants.
I don't like the construction of this team. I'm being honest. I don't like I like the franchise because I'm a Giants fan. I grew up in San Francisco. I wasn't.
But again, and I'm not going to harp on you, but you seem to have a bee in your bonnet about Jung-Hoo Lee and why he shouldn't be on the roster. Yet I have heard you on many a night sing the praises of a guy I don't even think should be in Major League Baseball by the name of Schmidt.
I've also told you that I said Casey Schmidt should get a shot to play. He should get a shot to play, and that I said I think he's better than Chapman, and I think he will prove out to be better than Chapman.
Yeah, well, I hope it's somewhere else. Send him to Miami.
Here we go. This is just the guy on the left is Jung-Hoo Lee. Guy on the right. Can you guess who that is?
That's Teoscar Hernandez.
That is Teo. You know how I know you know who you because that is your guy, right? Teoscar Hernandez. Exactly.
Yep. 24.
Look at that. Look at that. Who gives a shit about the home runs? This is the problem. Baseball is all about everyone just wants the home run. But if you look at the numbers, Lee's got a better batting average. He's got a better on base. He doesn't slug.
Teoscar's had a bad year.
He's had a bad year.
He's had a bad year, but I still think I'll take him in the playoffs over Jung-Hoo Lee. Absolutely.
Okay. I take the Giants in the playoffs.
I'm just saying that Jung-Hoo Lee is a decent player.
How the fuck did we start arguing about
I have no idea. I don't know how it happened. I don't know.
Because you said Jung-Hoo Lee was like, this. I don't remember how it all started, but
you started talking about Jung-Hoo Lee, and
I was responding to your talk about Jung-Hoo Lee. I said he's just an average player. I don't see what anybody sees in Jung-Hoo Lee.
Dan, we got a whole team of average players.
Exactly. And you say I don't like the Giants. I'm telling you, I don't like the roster. Do you like the roster construction, Glenn?
No.
Okay. So
yes,
are we going to talk about it and keep rooting that they finish 500 for the next 5 years?
Well, I would assume that that's what's going to happen. Yeah. We'll be rooting away. Eric and I'll be rooting for them, but I think they're going to be a 500 ball club for years to come.
And you got to remember, to Cliff's point, where's Lee been batting? He's been batting everywhere in Atlanta. He started off the season third. Then he went down to like 6th and 7th. Then he went at leadoff.
Can you put that thing back up there of Lee and Hernandez again real quick if you have it?
Yeah, I still got it. There we go.
All right, take a look at the RBIs.
Well, yeah, look where he was batting in the lineup.
Plus, when you got a team that strikes out 16 times a day, how many people are getting on base?
How many people are ahead of? Yeah, Jung-Hoo Lee. Look where he's batting.
How many? We don't get it. God, we don't get any hits.
Let's look. hold on. Let me look at Baseball Reference.
I think we have come to the conclusion on tonight's Hot Corner that this Giants team sucks.
Amen. There we
can
agree on that.
Right? They need to get a second baseman. They need to get an outfielder. They need to get a starting pitcher, and they need to get a closer. That's just off the top of my head.
For starters. Yeah, good job, Eric. That's just for starters.
And look, they got money. They got money.
But will they spend it? That's going to be the key.
Will they and can they? It's not going to help if they go out and spend it like they did this year with, let's give $10 million to Yaz. I don't want that.
Look, Cliff, I agree with you. If he was on the Giants, he would have 20 homers and 60. Yeah. And it's partly the team. It's partly the ballpark. They don't have anybody around surrounding them. Yeah. That's why I've always said you stick Matt Chapman on the Dodgers, I think he'd be like one of their most valuable players.
It's a team sport. Yeah.
Because he's not, you can bury him down in the lineup and not bat him fourth. He bats seventh, maybe even eighth on the Dodgers. And you wouldn't feel so crappy about Chapman coming up with bases loaded.
But in baseball, you're as relevant. You are as relevant as the players around you.
And another thing that we could talk about baseball, it says Christopher says Lee has hit in all 9 batting orders. Okay, whereas Teoscar, he's batted in the same spot every single damn time when he's available.
He batted third. He batted third in this series. His regular spot's fifth.
See, so it's right. He's in the middle of the lineup. Yeah. He's in the middle of the lineup. Lee has been all over the place. You can't do that. And that's another issue that I do have is that I bet if
you polled
the routine.
I bet if you polled a bunch of scouts, who would you rather have in your lineup, Jung-Hoo Lee or Teoscar Hernandez? I'd say the majority would pick Hernandez. He's had a much more proven track record. He's had an off year.
True.
This year. He wasn't healthy. He also wasn't healthy. He was pretty injured this year.
And Teoscar he's got a resume. Lee, this is as Glenn said, this is his rookie year. This is the first time he's played a whole 162. So
how you feeling down there, Lou?
Woo! All right, Lou, I think we're ready to freaking wrap this one up, man.
Hi, Lou.
Lou's been a little quiet tonight.
I love you, buddy.
I don't know.
Any parting words, Lou?
Any parting words? I just want to hear any words.
Yeah. Any Giants are in worse shape than they were opening day. They're in worse shape. We have more holes. Hard to believe, but somehow we are.
I think Dallas makes sense. I did say this about Lee. I put this out the other day on Twitter, and what it was is I said, I am tired of seeing a lineup of Adames and Chapman batting 3 and 4. And what happened the other night? They came up and bases were loaded and both struck out to end the inning. In fact, here's my comment. I'll just put it up there right here.
Cliff must have stole that from me, Eric. Know your role, play your role.
I said, tired of seeing Willie Adames and Matt Chapman back to back in the order. Too many rally-killing Ks. And this was before the game, right before the game. Am I the only one who sees this? Put Lee at the top of the order and leave him there. And then it goes on. And that's what I would have done with my order. Lee, Adames, Devers, Ramos, Eldridge, Schmidt, Gilbert, Chapman, Bailey, and yes, Chapman 7 or 8. I can't stand seeing Matt Chapman constantly come up with runners in scoring position. Did we ever check what Chapman's RBIs are this year?
I think someone brought him. I think it is 60 or 61.
Yeah, 60.
There's a leader. There's a leadership in your offensive role.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, there's guys that have more RBIs that have played way less games. So I just, I think we differ on some of this as far as wanting to see the Giants. I want to see them pick a lane. I've done countless shows on picking a lane, and that is either, like Ibrahim said, go spend to the hilt, go spend $275 to $300 million a year, make yourself a team, or rebuild it. I had Ned Coletti on last Thursday night, and I asked him the question, what is easier. Or like I was talking about the Sharks and how they're rebuilding and how long it would take to become a contender doing it the way the Sharks are versus doing it baseball wise. And Ned's answer was, that's a great question. He said, in baseball, unlike hockey, you can go spend your way. And he mentioned all the Dodgers players that have been free agents or trades that you can go out and do. And if you're not going to go spend the money, then you're going to have to rebuild it. But if you just do what the Giants are doing, which is spend a little here, and they overspend, in my opinion, on players that are mid because good players don't want to come to San Francisco for obvious reasons. The hitters get screwed, right? So the Giants have to overpay to get a Jung-Hoo Lee. They have to go bid against themselves to get a Matt Chapman. They have to jump the ship or jump quickly and sign Willie Adames on the eve of the winter meetings and get him signed, and they give top dollar to a guy. So I think the Giants either need to continue to spend and get those players that they lack, or they're just going to be where they're at. They're going to be a mid team because they've got some decent players, but they don't have enough to get them over the hump. And the only reason the San Francisco Giants won 3 World Series titles is because that infield was entirely homegrown. The starting rotation was 3/4 homegrown, and their bullpen was homegrown, and parts of their outfield were homegrown, and they made trades. They didn't do a bunch of free agents, but they built the team up with great draft picks, and they all came up together. And that's why, as I'm wearing this A's hat, I'm not an A's fan, but they are Northern California. And so I think the A's are doing it. Now they're building it right. Whether they finish it right depends on their lousy ownership. They could screw it up again, but they are starting to sign guys. Guys like Rooker agreed to sign.
Because the MLB forced them to. Otherwise, they were going to lose their freaking revenue sharing. That's why. So they got their pee-pee waxed because they weren't spending.
Yeah, I don't know who this end.
Not because they wanted to.
Dan runs the Giants like his fantasy team, but I give him the benefit of the doubt. He's always competing and at the top. Well, thanks, Cliff. I don't run the Giants. I don't think I run them like a fantasy team. I just, if I was running the Giants and I had the money, I would be spending it and going out and getting the best free agents, and I would have to overpay for it, but I would make sure I got them. If I couldn't get them, then I'm forced to make trades. But I don't think this team, I don't know. We'll see. Maybe I'll be wrong. Hopefully I'll be wrong, and they'll surprise everybody, and they'll come out in 26 and they'll be at the top. But we'll see.
I think the offseason is going to decide a lot if you're going to have money spent or not.
Yeah.
And, at the end of the day, let's not forget the fan base and forget the fanfare. It's a business. So if the ownership group says, here's what we want to do, then that's what they're going to do. There are teams that want to spend money, teams that don't want to spend money. There are probably teams that don't want to spend money that do, and vice versa over the course of years. It depends on whether the team wants to. But Dallas made a big point a few minutes ago. I think their fate's already being determined as we speak, with 4 long-term free agents.
Yep.
Getting to the point where you're going to have to just start going out and getting more and plugging them in and see what you can do. You start signing 3 and 4 long terms, that's not you're no longer in a position to rebuild.
Philip, differences in picks. Dodgers get Betts, Freeman, Ohtani. We get Jung-Hoo Lee, Adames, and Chapman. If that doesn't make you sick, I don't know what does. Yeah, good point. Good point. And N-Base says, true Giants fans won't be wearing A's caps and do a Giants show. Well, N-Base, I like to make you kind of like toss and turn in bed at night and be all upset. So that's why I do it, just to be a troll for guys like you. No, I'm kidding. I'm just wearing the hat.
Meaningful baseball a week away. Eric, you and I'll do show tomorrow night. I'm out of here.
Yeah, let's go, guys. Time to get out of here.
Yeah, if it'll make guys happy, I'll put the hat back on. There we go.
All right, guys, enjoy the rest of your Sunday night. We'll be back at it again tomorrow on our respective channels. Woo, Lou! Have a good night, buddy.
Wake up, Lou. Wake.
Woo!